Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to the show where right and left come to be reasonable. There are three kinds of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics. Mark Twain said that, and he was certainly onto something when it comes to interpreting polling data. I remind of this because there's a new slew of numbers out from the weekend asking people about President Trump's first 100 days. And of course, everybody's using the data to make whatever point they want. But there is very good news. If you look past the parties, which I will get to after exposing the game being played by the parties and all of their facilitators. So you got Fox, okay? And on Fox, the MAGA home team, they're just showing that people like immigration policy, generally. Okay, ignoring everything else, especially after all the blowback they got from MAGA Nation last week for actually being accurate about Trump's lackluster polling. So they're not going to make that mistake again. Most other outlets are pounding how Trump is upside down or underwater or whatever metaphor you want to show that he's below 50% across the board. His approval is between 39 and 45. Lower than where other presidents were at this point in their presidency? Yes. But I keep telling you, despite what you hear from MAGA and the minions saying that he is, everybody loves him, that's not true. The truth is, Trump is a uniquely unpopular figure. So you have to look at his numbers in context. And when you do that, the number he has right now, which is supposedly the bottom falling out, it's not that different than where he was in his first term, if you look at it, right? I mean, several surveys, he's actually polling higher than he was at this point during his first term. So I don't see this as a catastrophe, but I also don't care on that level because it's just a moment in time. It's the problem with a poll. It's only a suggestion of a preference of a moment in time. It's not fixed. It can change. That said, Trump's day one promise that everything was going to get better and fast has been a disappointment to people. 6 in 10 of you say the country's on the wrong track. 7 in 10 of you say that there's likely a recession going to come. And higher inflation because of his tariffs. All Trump can do is fold pollsters into the deep state, as he did this morning at 5 a.m., tweeting that pollsters should be investigated for election fraud, including Fox News pollsters. They're all negative criminals. Whoever tells you Trump doesn't care what the media says is not to be trusted. He cares more than any other president I've covered. He just doesn't know what to do about his unpopularity right now. So there is an opportunity in that, first for the other party, but Democrats just can't get past Trump sucks. They're still facing the same obstacle, showing that they can be better, not just that he is worse. And I'm not just talking about in terms of style, but substance, and you see it in the numbers. When voters were asked whom they trust to fix the country's problems, Democrats lose to Trump even now, 30 to 37. It seems Democrats are confusing more with better. You have Senator Booker and Leader Jeffries streaming a 12-hour sit-in on the Capitol steps yesterday, reminiscent of Booker's 25-hour speech on the Senate floor, claiming again that Republicans are going to cut Medicaid even though the GOP budget bill hasn't been released yet. And you got Sanders and AOC. They're getting numbers that they're fighting oligarchy rallies, but this is just indicative of voters being desperate for change and the bar for better ideas being very, very low. Anyone thinks that these two are going to be what wins the next election has not been paying attention. Why? Look, a plurality of Americans they're making their voices clear. They are tired of extremism. And they now more and more believe neither party fights for people like me. And this is what you're not being told. This is the most important number we saw this weekend. That is the message. It's starting to become a general feeling that both parties suck and that they are the most poisonous part of our political system. And that is true. So the movement is toward being an independent, a critical thinker, a free agent. And I love it and am here for it. And frankly, this show and NewsNation are built for it. Independence. When you ask them, who's out of touch with Americans? Everybody. 62, Trump. 69, Republicans. 76, Democrats. In other words, the whole party system sucks. And again, they're right. And among younger independents, a crucial voting bloc for both parties, 64% have an unfavorable view of Democrats. 71% unfavorable view of Republicans. Good. Don't join their parties. Remember, independents are the fastest growing bloc in the electorate. Said it nice and slow so you can soak in that number, you see? And even if a lot of people who say they're independent are only saying it and they choose a party most of the time, or they have to because of their primary laws, it's still a new way of speaking and thinking. Americans now identifying as independent. Both parties need to change if they want to win our voters. I hope they just quit and let people just vote on more moderate candidates instead of this binary battle to the bottom. Now, the other message that you're not hearing in these numbers is that it's not all bad news. If you look at it in terms of what do we all care about? See, I care about consensus, right? About common concerns. That should be the focus. See, the parties divide us gratuitously. They divide us to make us smaller and easier to control and easier for them to manipulate in their binary process, right? So you get to a point where we're fighting over these culture issues that don't even affect you, and you wind up siding with a party that is promoting policies that don't even help you, but they're your side because of this stupid culture issue. You see what I'm saying? 61% of America's best years are yet to come. Amen, my brothers and sisters. That's American, not American. 78% are concerned with the political division. Good. 70% oppose cutting Medicaid to pay for tax cuts. Okay, that's a loaded question. What about just cutting Medicaid, not for tax cuts? I don't know. 80% agree America would be better off with more people working in manufacturing. I think that's propaganda being pushed on them. Because when you say manufacturing, are those really the jobs of the future? Or are we having a stilted conversation? 76% say Trump should not ignore Supreme Court rulings. Only 76? 73% say Trump shouldn't send Americans to El Salvador. So what you're seeing is, on the big obvious questions, most of us are in the same place. Don't let them split you for their advantage. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.